Anytime you start a goal, pursue a dream, develop a habit, you encounter what I call the grind phase. In this video, I will explain what the grind phase actually is, the pros and cons of the grind phase, and also a few tips on how to operate within it and how to press on to the finish phase. If you like the content, be sure to like and subscribe. The grind phase happens when it's harder to get up at 5 a.m. to take that run. It's harder to sit down and write. It's harder to make another cold call. We have a natural excitement when we dream and when we start. There is motivation and energy behind it. But when we are in the midst of pursuing that goal, it's easy to lose. But one of the pros, one of the great things about being in the grind phase is that it produces grit. It makes you dig deep within yourself. It's doing something hard out of commitment and dedication. You aren't fueled just by the feelings that come with starting any longer, but rather duty. You know what hard work looks like. I made a previous video on self-efficacy. That's your belief in your ability to accomplish certain goals and tasks. I talked about how you can raise and lower your self-efficacy. I'll post that video at the end. But developing grit enhances your self-efficacy and builds resolve. The grit that you develop is the bright side, but the dark side, one of the dangers, one of the cons of the grind phase is that this is where many dreams and goals die. Because when the energy is gone, the excitement is gone, when the thrill of sharing with others has passed, this is where people give up. So here are 3 tips to thrive in the grind phase so you don't give up. Tip number 1 of thriving in the grind phase when your goal gets hard, remember the rule of 3. Olympian Alexi Pappas observes that in all the training she has done over the years, she's recorded her demeanor, her mood, her attitude towards her workouts. She notes that for 1/3 of the time, she has felt amazing during her workouts. She felt encouraged, driven, motivated, confident that she would be on the medal stand. Another 1/3 of the time, she felt fine, confident, putting in the work, comfortable. And the final 1/3, she was discouraged, sluggish, unmotivated. If you can remember the rule of 3 on those hard days, you can cut yourself some slack and give yourself some grace if you're not feeling it that day. Olympic athletes aren't there every day either. Tip number 2 of thriving in the grind phase when your goal gets hard, create a loop. I'll start with an example. As a 90s kid, I loved the Ninja Turtles. I watched the animated show, loved the movies, had the action figures, the lunchbox, you name it. Advertisers know what they're doing because the more you watch the show, the more you want the merchandise. The more you buy the merchandise, the more you want to see the movies. It's a loop, and it's done everywhere you look. In order to break through the grind, you have to create a loop of your own. Find content, find people that motivate you. Create loops in your life that constantly stir in you this desire to take the next step and achieve. It could be certain music, it could be YouTube clips, it could be having lunch with a certain friend that just stirs that passion in you. Hit the play button on those loops to help keep you engaged, to remind yourself why you are doing what you're doing. Tip number 3 of thriving in the grind phase when your goal gets hard. Cut the wood, carry the water. This is a term used by Seth Godin in The Practice. In simpler times, a small village always needed water from the well and firewood cut for heating and cooking. You might not need it for that day, but it would be useful eventually. It's not exciting work, but it's work that must be done. This is a message to stick to it. Keep doing it, keep working. Get up and run the mile, even if it won't be your fastest. Sit in front of the keyboard and write for the 30 minutes you said you would, even if you know it's not headed toward any New York Times bestseller list. This is a concept of simply taking action. It may feel like it has little benefit, but it will reap a reward later when you need fresh water and fresh wood to burn. One important thing I want to speak to is, when does working toward a goal become too much? When should you pause? Is there ever a good and right time to pause your goal? Absolutely. There's wisdom in understanding your current season and accepting your limitations. It does not mean that you're a quitter. It does not mean that you're a loser. It likely means you are being responsible for yourself and for others. You might be in a season of life where all of this dream chasing and goal setting sounds amazing, but you simply cannot do it right now. That is okay. There might be a time in a different season or in a few years that you can. This is where you have to draw the line between committed and fanatic. Does your goal isolate you from your family? Does it drive you and your spouse apart? Does it affect your health? Some of the highest achievers in the world have very dysfunctional personal lives because they fail to find a healthy balance in life between achieving success and investing in those closest to them. If you have a young family and you find that your time is spread very thin, you are not alone. Are you or your spouse pregnant? Get ready to get no sleep, let alone any goals completed. Are you or someone you love sick or injured? Any of these might be a reason to pause your goal. For obsessive compulsive or addictive personalities, dreams easily become idols. Keep your priorities straight, especially if you are insecure, trying to prove something to the world. The grind is not worth it if it destroys the rest of your life. So how do you clear the grind phase and get into the finish phase? There's always a box jump or an obstacle that gets in the way of moving into the next phase. This one is doubt. Some of the symptoms of doubt may include fatigue, motivation, plateauing, and second guessing. I don't think I can do this. I have so much further to go. I'll never be good at this. Again, the doubt creates a condition where most people give up. To clear that obstacle, to clear that box jump, keep moving. This is where the power of poorly comes in. You will have plenty of days when your work feels pointless and fruitless. It doesn't matter. You don't have to be the best. You don't have to be the smartest. You don't have to be the first across the finish line. All you have to do is remain standing at the end. If your goal is 5 miles for the day and you don't have it in you, 1 mile is better than 0. If you don't feel motivated to practice for an hour, 15 minutes is better than 0. Plenty of people who finish marathons only finish because they had to walk along the way. Ease up so you have what it takes to finish to the end. If you like this content and want more, to be sure to pick up a copy of my book, Start Poorly, Sidestepping Perfection to Reach Your Goal. You can find it where books are sold, and it's also available on audiobook through Amazon. If you purchase it, please leave me an honest review. Check out my previous video on the start phase, and we'll see you next time.